Last hour, Fabrizio Romano reveals Tottenham's focus amid Ange Postecoglou's sack rumours. Welcome back to Tottenham News Today channel. Fabrizio Romano has now revealed what he has heard about Tottenham's plans for Ange Postecoglou, as speculation continues to run rife over the Australian's future. Tottenham Hotspur have had an upturn in form since their injury situation improved, and progress to the final 8 of the Europa League added some new impetus to the club's season. However, their lacklustre display at Craven Cottage on Sunday reopened the scars, with the Lilywhites' defensive struggles once again coming under the spotlight. The 2-0 loss on Sunday means that Tottenham have lost more than half their Premier League games this season, with Ange Postecoglou admitting that Spurs' league record is unacceptable. Fabrizio Romano reveals what Tottenham are focused on. Over the last few days, a number of outlets have claimed that Spurs have already started considering candidates to replace Postecoglou. It was even reported earlier this week that Daniel Levy has informed Postecoglou that he will need to secure European qualification to stay in his job. However, Romano has now revealed that the focus at N17 is not on the managerial position, but instead on going all the way in the Europa League. When asked if Postecoglou is in danger of losing his job, the Italian journalist told Give Me Sport, "At the moment, Tottenham's full focus is on the present, especially the Europa League. As a crucial target for Spurs this season, nothing else coming from sources close to the club. Spurs will want to keep Postecoglou's succession plan under wraps. While it is clear that Daniel Levy and the Spurs hierarchy want to give Postecoglou every chance to succeed, they will undoubtedly be making contingency plans already. However, the club will have to be careful to keep any managerial approaches under wraps, as the last thing they want to do right now is to undermine the Australian. For Tottenham to have a chance of lifting the Europa League, the atmosphere around the squad needs to be positive and the players need to be playing for their manager. Tottenham could look to do transfer business with Bayern Munich once again this summer. Spurs have been involved in several high-profile transfer dealings with Bayern Munich over the past couple of years. Harry Kane is the obvious example, with the striker completing a move to the German Giants in August 2023, and that is a deal which could yet be revisited as speculation continues to swirl around Kane one day returning to Tottenham, and the club could once again look to sign a player currently in Bavaria, with Joshua Kimmich the latest name to be mentioned. Tottenham told to sign Kimmich after Kingsley Coman news. As reported by Give Me Sport, Tottenham want to sign Mathys Tel permanently. In addition, they will also be offered the chance to sign Kingsley Coman when they enter transfer discussions with Bayern Munich for Tel in the summer. However, ex-Spurs scout Brian King would much prefer the North London club to target a move for Kimmich instead. "I'd go after Kimmich if I were Tottenham," King said. "He'd be the sort of player who would lift the standard at Tottenham. The talk of players like Coman, are they any better than what Postecoglou has already got? Kimmich is the sort of player who would instantly lift the football club. Joshua Kimmich would be a huge signing for Tottenham. Spurs at times have failed to go out and sign ready-made players who have already proven themselves. Tel was an exciting addition, and the Frenchman could yet develop into a top player in North London. However, he is still incredibly young and doesn't have a proven track record in Europe. Meanwhile, a player like Kimmich has proven himself to be a top midfielder in European football. Therefore, if Spurs were to go and sign him, it would be a real statement of intent. Tottenham Hotspur have reportedly grown impatient with their efforts to persuade Cristian Romero to sign a new contract, with the North London club now set to take a huge call ahead of the summer transfer window. The Spurs vice-captain enters the final 2 years of his deal this June. It has been widely reported that Tottenham are ready to offer Romero a big pay rise as they try to tie him down to a long-term deal. However, the centre-back is thought to be stalling on a decision. Various sources have claimed that Romero is hesitant to commit to a new contract at Spurs as he is keen on playing Champions League football next season. Now a fresh report has shed light on what Tottenham's next planned course of action is as the Argentine continues to make up his mind. Give Me Sport have now claimed that if the 26-year-old does not put pen to paper on a new contract before the end of the season, Tottenham will cash in on him this summer. The Tottenham hierarchy are reportedly poised to give Romero an ultimatum, making it clear to him that he will be sold in the summer if he does not sign on the dotted line. Spurs are said to be aware that the likes of Real Madrid are after the centre-back. And while the North London club would prefer to keep the defender, they have not ruled out the possibility of sanctioning a sale. Give Me Sport also confirms that Tottenham are willing to make Cristian Romero their highest paid player if he decides to sign a new contract. However, if the World Cup winner refuses to commit to a new contract, Ange Postecoglou's men are expected to ask for offers of more than £60 million for him in the summer. The report adds that while there is a growing expectation that Madrid will test the waters for Romero, the Los Blancos are also thought to be keeping an eye on several alternatives, including Ibrahima Konate, Dean Huijsen and William Saliba. Fabrizio Romano has shed light on what the feeling at Tottenham Hotspur is about Mathys Tel, and about whether the North London club plan on buying the forward permanently from Bayern Munich in the summer. Tel is still getting adjusted to life at Spurs, having arrived at the club towards the end of the January window in the middle of an extremely challenging season. The 19-year-old is yet to set things alight on the pitch, but the youngster evidently feels very much part of the setup already at the club. That was demonstrated by the fact that Tel went over to speak to the travelling fans after Tottenham's loss against Fulham, a gesture that Spurs fans may have expected from more experienced players in the squad. Even though the on-loan Bayern Munich man is yet to show Spurs fans what he can do, Ange Postecoglou is convinced that Tel will prove a success at Spurs. Romano has now explained that the decision-makers at Hotspur Way are very happy with the Frenchman's attitude and his potential, and they trust him to become a real asset for the club. When asked what the feeling at Spurs is about Tel, Romano told Give Me Sport, "For Mathys Tel, they're very happy with the boy, with the attitude, with the potential they see in this boy, and that's why they were fighting for weeks to sign him in January. And at the moment, their indication remains, as Postecoglou always says, that they trust him also for the future. Then let's see what happens." While the Tottenham boss has continued to back Tel, the reality is that Postecoglou is not guaranteed to be at Spurs at the start of next season. If the Australian is sacked in the summer, that might affect the club's decision on whether to activate the £45 million option to buy the forward. If the 19-year-old struggles to turn his form around, Tottenham may even ask Bayern for a discount in the summer. That's it for today's update. If you liked the video and want to keep up with everything Tottenham, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for our latest content. Remember to give this video a thumbs up and share it with other Spurs fans. Let's build our Tottenham News Today community together. Thanks for watching, and as always, come on you Spurs!